So the challenge that we all have then is, given the demands of the workplace, how can we manage such high levels of peak performance without burning or crashing? That's the question, and that'll be the next few minutes that we'll have a look at. So, Lawrence Schwartz talked about flipping the whole time management thing on its head. What they said is that broadly, people in your position will have reasonable levels of time management. Otherwise, you wouldn't be where you're at now. You're pretty good at it. Sure, we can all get better. Sure, we can. But you will be achieving reasonable levels of time management. The question that really needs answering is, how are you managing your energy? Because according to the work done by Lawrence Schwartz, the question or the statement is really more about energy rather than time being the fundamental currency of high performance. Energy rather than time. So wherever we are, whatever we do, whatever we're thinking about, it has to have an energy focus. And they have a few principles. They talk about the fact that we inspire or demoralize ourselves and others, first by how we effectively manage our own energy, and second by how we mobilize the energy of those around us. So if we think about every thought, everything we say, everything we do has an energy consequence. It can either give energy to you and to other people, or it can take energy away from you, and as importantly, particularly if you're working in a team environment, from those around you. So that's the first thing that we have to think, is how well are we managing our own energy, but also mobilizing the energy of other people. And that's everything about what we say and what we do. And we know when it's tough out there, we tend to look for the negative. We tend to look for the stuff that's going wrong. We tend to be blaming other departments. We tend to be, quite often in organizations, particularly large ones, we're looking out of the window to blame somebody rather than looking in the mirror and thinking, what else could I be doing here to make this better? How can I pull this thing around? One of the principles is they talk about the fact that energy capacity diminishes both with under and overuse. Energy capacity diminishes with under and overuse. So we know if we do lots of stuff, we get tired, we get physically tired, we get mentally tired. But we know if you're not doing a fat lot, you also get tired. You think, how often have you said, well, I haven't done a lot today, but I feel shattered for whatever reason. So capacity diminishes with under or overuse. Therefore, we should be balancing expenditure with renewal. And with this, they're talking about enforced breaks. Enforced breaks either during the day, so the bit about on your email as soon as you get into the office and not letting up apart from meetings until whatever time you decide to go, not healthy in terms of energy management. Every so often we have to move away to come back in because that refreshes energy. That's what the weekends are for. The weekends are for refreshing energy, for re-energizing ourselves. So if we are pounding away at the laptop keys over the weekend, then that's not necessarily helping us to manage our energy. It's certainly not delivering peak performance. And that's what holidays are about. So for those dedicated amongst you who are sat wondering about how you're going to use the holidays to the year end, find a way, because this stuff will help you. That's the break, that's the thinking time, that's the refreshment time that helps you to manage yourself sustainably. The second principle is to build capacity, we must move beyond our normal limits. So we should be training in the same systematic way that elite athletes do. What they're talking about this is pushing beyond our comfort zone. If we want peak performance, if we want to grow, you guys don't need me to tell you, we have to do things differently. We have to put ourselves in places where it's a little bit uncomfortable. We have to put our head above the parapet. We have to put our name forward. Despite the fact that we might not know what that looks like, what the future looks like, how easy, how difficult this will be, we have to take a deep breath and push ourselves forward if we're really genuinely serious about developing high levels of peak performance. Because when we do it, sure we'll be uncomfortable and sure we might need a bit of help, but we'll have grown as a result of that specific experience. So looking for things that challenge you is absolutely key in terms of managing your energy. And the third principle is the fact that we each have 4 separate but interrelated sources of energy. So we have physical energy. This is the interaction between glucose and oxygen in our body. This is about how we breathe and what we eat. Okay? We create physical energy by exercising, by eating the right stuff, by hydration, by getting enough sleep, and by the regular rest and recovery throughout the day. That's how we create physical energy. So the question we'll be asking you in a short while, when I ask my wonderful helpers around the room to wish out questionnaires, is how well are you doing that? This is not about Ironman challenges. This is not about running marathons. This is not about anything other than whatever exercise is right for you. If anybody's picked up a copy of the Daily Telegraph on the way down this morning, I heard on the news there's an article around the latest research out. Half an hour a day of exercise is showing us more benefits than we can ever imagine, both in terms of physical, in terms of mental, in terms of life longevity, in terms of staving off dementia. Half an hour a day, that's all we're asking for, and that's not half an hour a day of going out for a 10k run or getting into the gym or whatever. If that's not the stuff that you enjoy, then that's not going to be sustainable. So find whatever it is that you enjoy, but find the time to do it, because the benefits are enormous. You will find yourself creating much more physical energy. Because what tends to happen is we'll go through the working day, we go down and down and down, and what usually happens, our brain's shattered, our body's shattered, we get home to the people, in theory, we love the most, as grumpy as you like and as lifeless as you like, because we've spent all that stuff during the day, we've got no physical energy left. The second one is emotional energy, and emotional energy is about our ability to access positive emotions. So our ability to manage our outlook when it's all going a bit pear-shaped. Okay, and we all have it. We all have it every day. You'll send out the email and think, oh, wrong date, I copied him in, her in. The stuff, the mistakes you make, the project doesn't come off, you lose the deal. Whatever it is, whatever your role is, I'm sure on a daily basis, you'll be making mistakes. This stuff is how we cope with that. That emotional energy is your ability to access the positive stuff, put life into perspective, cut out the crooked thinking, the catastrophizing, I'm going to be losing my job, everything's going awry, and putting things into perspective, taking the learning and moving on. And that's the way that we create emotional energy. The third one is mental energy, and mental energy is about focus and our ability to focus on what's important. This is about focusing on the stuff that really makes a difference, and people who manage their energy effectively are very, very clear on what's important. They have very clear goals. They're usually written down, and they usually have a plan behind their goal. That way, it helps them to keep focused, and all the other stuff, all the other noise that surrounds this is just simply that. It's unimportant, it's irrelevant, because this is the stuff that will make a difference to me, my team, my organization, my customer, whatever it is. But that mental focus is absolutely key, and that's the way we create mental energy, by blanking out everything else. By managing your technology, by managing your email and not allowing it to manage you, by switching off your phone when you're really trying to focus, cut everything out. Some real practical steps here. Email has been great, but it also stops us from getting things done. So we have to take practical tactics and objectives and steps to make sure that we can focus on the stuff that makes a difference to us all. And finally, core energy. And the core energy is really about aligning our lives around our values, about really knowing and understanding what's important to us, and then making sure that our life is involved with everything that's important to us. So if I ask you the question of how well do you know yourself, I'm sure you'd all say, yeah, pretty well. I've been living with myself for a few decades now. I think I know myself pretty well. But the reality is, most people don't know their personal values. They don't know what they stand for. And when you are absolutely crystal clear about what you stand for, then decision-making becomes a lot easier, because you make decisions in line with your value set. So the message coming out of that is, if you want to create more energy around this core, this spiritual stuff, People who have a strong faith tend to be great, tend to have a full tank of this core energy, this spiritual energy stuff. But with others, we have to work a bit harder at that. So, they're the 4 energies. I've just given you a quick whistle-stop tour. But